Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Immigrant Education Collaborative podcast. Today, we're here with my cousin, Erin.
What's up, everybody? My name is Aaron Providence. I'm a sophomore civil engineer from Brooklyn, New York, and I go to Morgan State University. My mom, she came to America in her teenage years, and she is from Camden Park of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I'm pretty sure she came for better opportunity, and just like my dad as well. But my dad, both of them had came in their teenage years, but my dad had originally moved to Canada before coming to New York. So my dad had went to Canada and he was working in Canada with his uncles and stuff. And then my grandfather on my dad's side ended up coming to New York, which then followed my dad to come to New York as well. Yeah, they both came through with their teenage years. My mom started off, uh, I guess, working. She was doing more like nanny jobs and stuff like that, and my dad was doing more like a trade type of thing, like with cameras and finger readers, and that followed my dad throughout, I don't know, all his time here. Now he works for other companies who does the cameras, the security, and the finger readers and stuff like that. And as far as my mom, yeah, my mom came in as a nanny, and now she's working in hospitals doing radiology, I'm pretty sure.
How was it having parents that didn't do their K through 12 schooling here in America?
It was pretty difficult only because as they were getting adjusted to the school system, so was I. So it was like we were learning together. Throughout like my elementary school years, I went to a good elementary school, so that kind of put me and my parents on a better track to like grasp the school system. So it started to get easier and easier as I got to like high school and even middle school and stuff like that. It got really easy.
hmm And you went to boarding school?
Yes, I did go to boarding school. It was a very good experience. I went to boarding school because of just areas like being in Brooklyn, just like what kids were doing in Brooklyn compared to what kids were doing outside of Brooklyn. I wanted the better experience and to grow my network. So like just going to boarding school, being able to be in a more in an area where not everybody looks like me and being able to grow in an area like that, it definitely put me in some tough spots, but it also allowed me to grow more than what I believe I could grow today.
How did you guys decide? Like, what was the decision making like to go to send you to boarding school?
When it comes to boarding school, my older brother had went to boarding school, and I guess just viewing him going to boarding school, kind of like, the little brother in me was like, okay, let's go to boarding school because my older brother went to boarding school. But when it came down to school decisions, it was really just what is going to give me the best academics, like what's going to put me forward quicker. Is it going to be my zone schools or is it going to be the boarding school where I can go and just engage in multiple different things that wasn't offered in the community where I was growing up? So yeah, the boarding school option was just better to put my foot in the door and just keep pushing forward.
How was it adjusting to like being away from your parents at such a young age? Because usually people leave their parents for college.
Yeah, it was pretty different when I was younger, like middle school and stuff like that. I used to get really homesick, so I didn't know how I was going to adjust to boarding school. But the community that my boarding school created, with me being around kids that look like me, and even just the family vibe that the school gave, it allowed me to adjust a lot easier. To where it was like I was just going to two different homes. So like I would come home on the weekends, but when I was at my boarding school during the week, it just felt like I was just, in a different part of New York and in my home, in my room, everything felt comfortable. It was pretty easy adjustment.
That's cool. How did you prepare for the SATs?
When it came to preparing for the SATs, I was doing my PSATs as a sophomore and as a junior, and I didn't take my SAT until the end of my junior year. I took it twice actually. Preparation to that though was my school offered PSAT help, so I was just going to that daily and then just studying on my own with my friends, like the PSAT booklet, and just going through like an hour a day of questions. And then I took my PSAT.
What schools were you looking at for college, and how did you make a decision on which school to go to?
I didn't want to stay in New York. I knew that. But when it came to looking for schools in New York, because I was gone for my whole life, my mom wanted me to stay in New York. So I did tend to look at like more schools like Stony Brook, Binghamton, University of Buffalo, and stuff like that. But I always knew, I was told in middle school that I could see that somebody could see me at a HBCU.
hmm
And Yeah, from there, the HBCU, like, I guess community just like struck me like by surprise. So I was like super fascinated by HBCU. So I started applying to like NCAT. I applied to Morgan State. I applied to Hampton University as well. And yeah, when it came down to major, I was always good at math and science, and engineering kind of just like fit those things. And I'm always interested in the way that people think and how to solve problems. And that's really what engineering is. I'm here to solve problems and not necessarily fix the way people think, but just find solutions with an efficient manner that keeps everybody safe.
So Morgan State has a good program for that.
Yeah, so Morgan is actually number one for civil engineering in all HBCUs. And our engineering program, I don't know where we are in the world, but most of our disciplines, like our civil, electrical, mechatronics, engineering, were number one for HBCUs.
So did you feel like you were prepared for your major before you started college, or was it a challenge?
I would say it was a challenge because my high school didn't really give me engineering preparation. So I wasn't taking any engineering courses within my high school. The summer before I went to college, I did this program at Georgia Tech that introduced me to different fields of engineering. So, like agricultural, civil, electrical, and stuff like that. But that was only a week long. So,
Mhm.
going into college, I didn't really have any engineering experience, but I had the college preparatory experience from my high school. So like getting the work done and grasping the work was easy. It was just getting introduced to a whole new like um I guess like task, like a learning field, like which was the engineering. And that was a little difficult, but because of the structure my high school gave me or the foundation, it was easier to grasp.
What do you think you would have done differently, like to prepare for this major? Do you think you would have gone to like summer camp for it or something?
Yeah, for sure. I should have the past AP exams.
Mhm.
That's something I could have done to prepare for my major differently. Taking more APs. Yeah, because physics and math is a heavy part in engineering. And if I had taken those a little more seriously within the high school, or like just grasped it a little easier in high school, I definitely think I could have been further in my major. And then as far as like summer camps and stuff, yeah, I wish I went to a lot more like engineering camps, just got a more of a base because I just chose civil engineering when for other schools I had applied for like biomedical engineering because that was my first choice. And just the difference is like biomedical engineers is more like hospitals and scientists and like building prosthetics and stuff, where civil is more like landscape, highways, schools, and like more buildings and stuff like that. Yeah.
So what programs at Morgan State that you didn't know about before have you like taken an interest in and joined or just been surprised that they had it and been interested in them?
So I joined a lot of organizations at my school since I've been there. I've joined my a lot of male-driven organizations just to support the community around us
Mhm.
because community service is like a big thing to me. I was doing Boy Scouts before I left to college and left for high school and stuff like that. So a couple of the orgs I joined, Morgan Mile is one of them, and that stands for Male Initiative in Leadership and Excellence. And so basically, that's something you join more as a freshman, and they really just like help you get adjusted to the college life as well as doing like trips, kind of like a Boy Scout type of thing. So we would go fishing, paintballing, and stuff like that. And then they make sure you keep up with your grades and like your academic success with just like during your career journey. I joined an organization called Smooth, which is Strong Men Overcoming Obstacles Through Hard Work. And I mean, in that name, that's really how I define myself. I've been overcoming obstacles through hard work my whole entire life with my parents who are from the US. So like that's just something that resonated with me and stuck with me. I'm the current treasurer for them, and I'm also the presidential elect. So next year I'll be the president for Strong Men Overcoming Obstacles Through Hard Work. Another org I joined is called DARE, Diversity and Inclusion in Real Estate. That's pretty self-explanatory as well. Just getting myself adjusted to the real estate world. I do look into like buying my own house, selling properties, and my end goal with my major is to build my own property. So I feel like they just goes hand in hand with learning about the loans and also just like, being in an area with people who kind of just want to do the same thing as you. I've also joined the Collegiate 100 of Morgan State University, and that's kind of like Smooth and Morgan Mile. The only difference is Collegiate 100 is it's not national, but it's in a lot of schools. So it's in like UNC, it's in Rutgers, it's in like a whole lot of schools. And basically, they do the same thing, but they focus more on mentorship. So I'll be going into schools, reading to kids, like just showing them that your outcome is like, there's greater out there than what just your zone is. And it's about showing them like the grind and just like how far you can go with what you have. Yeah, those are most of the orgs I joined. I'm about to get inducted into a civil engineering honor society. And yeah, that's about it.
That's cool. So what do you
Mhm.
plan to do like for your future career?
So I've had right now I want to go into the construction world. So I want to be an engineer when it comes to like building commercial real estate. So I want to go into like stadiums. That's my main focus. Like I want to help build like the next, who knows, like Wizard Stadium or the next like, Met Stadium for baseball and stuff like that. But I've had two current internships and they've like got me kind of there so far. I worked with Mortensen Construction Company my freshman year
Hmm.
during the summer. And this summer, I'll be working with Turner Construction. And those two companies are top 20 in the world. Turner's number one, and I think Mortensen was number 15. But yeah, they're pushing me towards my goals because I want to do project management. That's the role I want to fulfill in construction. And once I graduate and hopefully continue to work with either Turner or Morrison, I will already be like halfway there when it takes more people like, 5 or 6 years to be there.
Mm, this is cool. This is great. So what advice would you give to like kids like yourself whose parents didn't grow up in America and go through the schooling here and you were both learning at the same time? Just what advice would you give to students in that were in the same position that you were in?
I would say be open to learning knowledge because yes, you and your parents are learning, but you also have to have the word good discernment into what to learn and what not to learn because it's easy to get caught up into all the information you're going to be learning because you're new to something and your parents is new to something. Um, yeah, so have good discernment and stay true to yourself because having Caribbean parents and being in areas where it's like, predominantly like African American, there is like people might say there's not a big difference, but there still is that big difference to where like things my parents from St. Vincent might do is not the same things that my friends, from Maryland might be used to. But yeah, just stay true to yourself, stay true to your customs because a lot of people want to learn from you and just be able to stay with your Caribbean self as much as your African American self. Like you can use both and still run and do whatever you want to do in life.
And what advice would you have given to your parents, knowing what you know now, if you could speak to them in the past to help you to make your way through the system?
Probably like everything's okay. Take a deep breath because I think my parents, like with them getting adjusted to the schooling system and just like the United States in general, they try to look for a lot of things and infuse a lot of things, but not everything is going to work for like a specific child. So just like, take it slow. They're learning with me and not like we're not learning at two different levels because this is the first time thing for the both of us. So yeah, just take it slow, take a deep breath.
Hmm.
And I probably still would have got to where I am now, even if they took it slow and take a deep breath. But I'm grateful for what they've done so far and where I'm still going. So,
Yeah. And what's the best advice that they have given to you on your journey?
stay true to myself. And my neighborhood doesn't define who I am because being from Brooklyn in the neighborhood that we grew up in, East New York, it was not the best neighborhood at all. But I've defied all the odds that people said I should be in and where I am now. So yeah, staying true to myself and not letting my neighborhood define who I am. Yeah.
So, what college advice would you give to the young Black men that watch this channel that might be like seniors in high school, juniors in high school? They're working to, they don't really know what they want to do yet. What would you say to them?
You don't have to come into college knowing what you want to do, but a big piece of advice I give to anybody coming to college is make sure that you know how to schedule and you have a balance within your life that allows you to have leisure time and stick to your structure. Because that's a huge thing, especially at HBCUs, I feel like people struggle with is having that balance between structure when it's time to work and when it's time to play. So put yourself on a schedule. That's like the best advice I could ever give anybody. I put myself on a schedule, so now I literally have it mapped out when I'm in class, when I'm studying, when I'm working out, And it might feel like a weird adjustment at first, but once you get it for like a week or two, it's gonna feel like a breeze, and it might feel like the same routine, but every day you're doing something new. And
Yeah.
just stick to your goals. That's
Hmm.
another big thing.
What's your favorite thing about your school?
Definitely the community. I feel like if I went to any other school, I wouldn't have gotten the community that I'm at. The HBCU community is definitely live. I feel like I'm at home just in another state. So, and I'm around people that not only look like me, but think like me and even think differently than me. And it's super cool.
And how did your parents help you like with the college decision process and the college, like preparing for college?
So my parents, we went on every college tour you could ever name. Like anytime there was a college tour for a school, we were there. If we were waking up at like, 3 in the morning to drive however long to Albany, we were doing that. When it came down to picking my schools exactly, we had looked at the schools I got into, and then we obviously looked at financially like what we can do because me being an out-of-state student, it's way more expensive than if I had went to like a school at Albany. I'm in-state student and I could apply for a lot more scholarships. And yeah, my mom specifically did a lot of research on my schools as much as me and my dad did, but my mom was always pushing the academics. So we had looked at the engineering programs, obviously. And I think I went to the school at Albany and did a tour there, and we had looked at it was between Albany and Morgan. And when I did my tour at Albany, comparing the engineering programs from Albany to Morgan, we had like sat in there for probably like an hour or two in our hotel, and then we had made our decision that Morgan State was going to be the school I was going
Yeah. I remember we helped you move. Well, we didn't really help you move in, but we
to.
did.
Yeah, y'all were there for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, just to support, and then we met each other for the first time, so it's like
exactly. What advice would you give to college students that might be struggling with their academics or like their social life? What would you tell them?
academically, definitely go to office hours. Office hours help everybody learn your teacher. Also, learn teachers within the department because you might have a teacher that you don't like, but there's a teacher in the department that might teach the same exact thing, just a lot fitting to your academic needs and your academic style. Socially, I mean, college, just, I don't want to say talk to any and everybody, but just be able to be open and be aware of what you're saying. Self-awareness is a key thing, and eyes are always watching. So just be aware of what you're saying and get out there and learn new people because you never know who will take you where, and you never know who you can take where. None
Hmm.
of my friends are from New York. All my friends are I have a friend from Africa, I have friends from Maryland, I have friends from all over, and we all put each other in positions to succeed.
What advice would you give to like for choosing classes?
Definitely look at your course curriculum, and they most schools they do have like a course sequence. So I would like that's my biggest advice. Go to your course sequence and don't overbook yourself when it comes to classes if you know you can't handle it. I know myself, I took 7 classes, 18 credits for probably my first year and a half of college, and I'm doing it right now.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's a lot, but know yourself and know who you are as a student academically. I feel like I can handle it, but then again, like not everybody is the same.
Thank you very much, Erin, for this episode.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you for all your advice. Is there anything else that you want to say or any shout outs you want to give?
Um, yeah, I'll probably just shout out my mom and my dad and my brother, of course. And then I shout out Smooth and then my family, Zora, and cousin Derek, all of you guys, because without you guys, I wouldn't have the opportunity or even be able to see DC, Maryland, and Virginia in the same day.
Hmm.
So that was pretty cool. And then yeah, thank God, of course. That's it.
Thank you so much.
No
Stay tuned
problem.
for another episode, everyone, and we'll see you soon.